That's up. Good morning, gamers, and welcome back to Streaming Story Saturdays. We're back in 14 with Saphrine and her journey to finish up Post-ARR Realm Reborn. Oh, what the hell happened last week? Oh, what do we have? We had the Crystal Braves show up because they're all over the Rising Stones right now, so you'll see them once we leave. What was the other thing that we did last week? I know the previous week we had Crystal Tower and the Primals. There's something else important last week. Can't remember. Huh. Yeah, that's odd. Alright, move that. Set that up. Why is that still open? Alright, well, we'll leave that as is. And as for us, we will start with the new storyline. Do I have audio? Yeah, there it is. Try as I might, I cannot shake a creeping sense of dark foreboding. But it avails us not to fret about the unknown. We must continue to concentrate instead of on the problems of the present. The primals have been relatively quiet of late, and the beast tribes who summon them are under constant surveillance by the grand companies. Should any suspicious activity be afoot, you may be certain that we will hear of it. And until such time as permanent solution to the primal problem has been found, we can do little but wait and observe. As for the Asians, Urianger has wholly dedicated to finding a means by which we may defeat the dark beings. Let us pray for good tidings on that front. But all of this you already knew. Let us speak then of the more current matters, in particular the state of the Crystal Braves. Alphino did well to found the organization, but ensuring its smooth operation is another matter entirely. Though I doubt not he is doing his best, I feel that a helping hand or two would not go astray. To this end, I offered to send one of the Archons to assist him, but he declined. You know how he can be, independent to a fault, and a singularity, loath to accept help. Save, of course, when that comes from you. Alphino has entrusted countless matters of import to your care in the past, and I believe he would not hesitate to do so again, were you to offer. I should be most grateful if you go to him, and support him in whatever manner you are able. My throat is still screwed up from yesterday. Yeah, as you can see, there's all these Crystal Braves all over the place now. Anyway. What is it, Saphrine? And do be concise, I am rather busy. You would lend a hand, you say? I see. Now that you mention it, there is a matter that wants for attention. Given its sensitive nature, I was hesitant to entrust it to my braves. But the demands upon my time are such that I have little choice. Which is not to say that the men want for labor. Though we are but newly formed, there is already a great demand for our services, and we are hard-pressed to answer all petitions, but I digress. Fact is, I would sooner attend to this particular matter myself, but my presence is required elsewhere. That being the case, I have entrusted its resolution to my second command, Captain Ilbert. Tell him that I sent you, and he will furnish you with particulars. My thanks in advance, Saphrine.
Hail to you, Scion. How might we serve you? Commander Leveilleur bade you serve us? These are welcome tidings indeed. Given the sensitive nature of the task, I could not rely on one of my own. That which I'm about to tell you, I tell you in the strictest confidence. Some days ago, we received certain documents from an anonymous source. They notified us of the presence of a Garlean agent within the ranks of one of the grand companies. Following some discreet inquiries, we identified a suspect among the Immortal Flames, whom we detained for questioning. Alas, the man was not our agent. He was but one of many men in the agent's employ. We pressed the traitor for a name, but he had none to give. He claims never to have met his master, whom he knows only as the Ivy. He was, however, certain that this Ivy had coiled itself around every part of the Immortal Flames. It would seem our quarry joined the company some time ago, and gradually recruited others to his cause. These conspirators are the vines by which he learns our secrets, all without exposing himself. It won't be easy to identify the Ivy amidst this tangled mass of subterfuge, but we have...
Oh, fuck. My bad.
Now, much as I would prefer to proceed with due discretion, circumstances demand that this matter be settled post-haste. Garlemald's War of Succession nears its end, and it is feared that the Empire will soon resume its march on Eorzea. When it does, we can ill afford to have traitors in our midst. The Ivy must be rooted out now. We must begin by apprising General Roban of our findings. I would ask that you accompany me to the Hall of Flames, and remain on hand to see that things go smoothly. Assuming the Ivy's tendrils are as widespread as we believe, he will be aware that an investigation is underway, and if that is the case, he may well move against us. We must be prepared for anything, while taking care not to betray our purposes by seeming prepared. A simple enough task for a one-woman army like you.
All right. So, yeah. Ulda! So the Flames, surprise, surprise, city full of wealthy people who throw their weight around with their money. Well, more they throw their money around because lalas don't weigh a damn thing. Has corruption all over the place. Awesome. Ugh.
Well, well, what brings you here, my friend?
She is here at my behest. Greetings, Roban. It has been a while.
Hilbert, you old scoundrel. When they told me you'd be visiting, I scarce believed my ears. But look at you! The honored captain of the Crystal Bloody Braves. Who'd have imagined, eh?
Not many, but fewer still would have imagined your destiny lay in politics, old friend.
Aye, we've both come far, have we not? Lest you wonder, Hilbert and I go back a long way. We've been friends and rivals since we were lads. The last time we saw each other, Alamigo had just fallen, so you can guess how many summers it's been. And in all that time, not a word from the fool.
Ah, well, my dealings tended toward the modest and mundane, unlike some I could mention. As I hear it, no sooner did you reach Thanalan than the brass blades clapped you in irons and dragged you off to die on the blood sands. Being a stubborn sort, you won 1,000 matches and earned yourself a place in the people's hearts while you were about it. Then, with your mountain of prize money, you bought the Colosseum and secured a seat on the Syndicate. Those balls, brother! Rags to riches does not do it justice. You're a hero to the common man.
Ha! Spare me. I am no hero. If anyone is worthy of that title, it's our friend here. Next to her, I'm little more than a glorified butcher. But you, Ilbert, you sell yourself short. By all accounts, you were an adventurer of some standing.
I like to think that I did my part for the greater good. But if you're no hero, then I'm no adventurer, not in this company. Anyway. I have tidings.
So
There.
there has been progress.
Yep.
I've let it be known that this meeting is a reunion between old friends. None will give your visit a second thought. To convene elsewhere would only attract attention. Let us speak here, in plain view of all. So it is we who have been compromised. Teleji Adeleji's machinations have shaken Uldar to her foundations. In such uncertain times, a man's loyalty may be bought for a fistful of gil. But if this snake has truly been in our midst for as long as you say, we must needs consider a far graver possibility. Conspiracy. Could it be that the Monetarists have been in league with the Empire from the first? Very well. I will have my most trusted men investigate the matter. Continue your inquiries in the meantime. It does me well to see you again, old friend. When next we meet, let it be over a flagon of ale.
I look forward to it. Let us reminisce of bygone days and drink to the future of our homeland. Flame General, you wear the mantle well, old friend. I must work hard if I'm to keep up. Well, it would seem your services were not required after all. I dare say we have Roban's prudence to thank for that. Still, I was glad of your presence. My thanks, Scion.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was kind of a waste. Our hunt for the Ivy begins in earnest, Sire. Suffice it to say, we must tread warily, but one misstep may well cost us our lives. Our business here is concluded for the time being. Let us return to the Rising Stones and report to Commander Levier. Alright, Alfie, what else do you got? Well, they cleared out quick. Most of them. We are returned from Ul'dah, Commander. Wrong button. And not a moment too soon. Something has happened. Trouble. You'll recall that the Fourth was tasked with reconquering the rendezvous site used by Ivy's minion and his Imperial contact. Soon after you left, we received word that the unit was ambushed en route to its destination. God's damn it. According to the report, one of ours has been taken captive. The Garleans are not wont to treat their foremen with dignity, and I have grave fears for her safety. We must dispatch a rescue party at once. Recall those braves who are afield. Begging your pardons, Commander, but we have not the time. I'm afraid I must ask for your aid once more, Scion. An ill-prepared rescue party will only serve to prove the Garleans with more captives. Yet time is of the essence. Simply put, you are the best chance we have. Captain Ilbert has the right of it. I trust you are willing. But of course you are. Now, Alain of the Fourth lies in wait and the Tangle, near the entrance to Castrum Sentry. Seek her out and she will apprise you of the situation. Isn't Sentry in Mordona? Yeah, it's right outside, okay. It's not too bad. Yet another rescue mission over by Sentry. Speaking of which, what is my volume set at? There we go. That should be better. You would aid us in this rescue mission? We are in your debt, Warrior of Light. Now's the time against us, so allow me to brief you on the situation. The Garleans fell upon us without warning, wounding poor Aresh and hauling her away to the castrum yonder. Outnumbered as we were, it was all we could do to flee and regroup. Even as we speak, the Garleans may be interrogating Aresh, or worse. With her hurts, I fear she will not long survive their attentions. We must rescue her without delay. Our order may yet be in its infancy, but that fate popped at the most inconvenient time. But the bonds that bind us is strong as mithril. None of us will stand by while comrade suffers. We, the remnants of the Fourth, will infiltrate Castrum Sentry. Please help us find Resh before it's too late. And it's time to crash a Castrum once again. Where am I? Resh, thank God we found you. And thank you, Warrior of Light. Now to quit this accursed place, Resh cannot move with these wounds. She'll need to be carried out. I believe a diversion is order. Might we trouble you to provide one? Given your reputation, I suspect the Garleans will be only too happy to grant you their undivided attention. If you were to create a commotion within the castrum, we should be able to steal away unnoticed. Let us speak again once we are safely outside these walls. You want me to break stuff? Alright. That's one. There we go, that's two. And does this make three? Really? That makes three. Alrighty, here we go. I've awaited your return most anxiously, my friend. You have done us a great service indeed. Thanks to your aid, our comrade Resh is safe. We suffered no further casualties. Words cannot well express my gratitude. All that is left is to report to the mission's success to Commander Levier. I shall go on ahead to the Rising Stones. You know what? Screw it. Alright, Alphino, what do you got for us this time? It does well to see that you returned. Though I doubt not your prowess, entering an enemy's stronghold is generally considered to be a risky venture. I must confess to having a bit trifle anxious. But here you are, hale and whole, having succeeded in your mission, and is all you want? Lest you wonder, the woman you rescued is being cared for by the Domans. Thanks to their expert ministrations, the danger has passed. You have my gratitude, Saphrine. Allow me to thank you also, Scion. Resh shows you her life. We escaped with minimal casualties this time, but we can ill afford to be caught off guard again. The Empire is not an opponent to be trifled with. As you say, Commander. I will see to it that the men keep their wits about them. And it may yet take time, but I will not rest until we have identified and apprehended the Ivy. I have every confidence in you, Captain. As for you, Saphrine, I realize that you have scarce caught your breath, but I am afraid there is no rest for the weary. I require that you accompany to Kothras. I've been granted an audience with an Ishgardian dignitary, you see. The man expressly requested your presence. Oh, do not look so surprised. You should be familiar with the trappings of fame by now. We shall depart as soon as you are ready. We have been blessed with a rare opportunity, Saphrine, an audience with the ambassador of the Holy See of Ishgard. We are to treat Sir Aymeric, the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights, in Dragonhead. It is considered a great honor to serve the Holy See directly as a Temple Knight. Needless to say, their leader wields tremendous political influence. We would be wise to court his favor. For that reason, I consider your attendance essential. If Sir Aymeric wishes to meet with the woman behind the legend, I would not deny him the pleasure of your company. Moving on. The antecedent should see the wisdom of this plan when you request her permission to accompany me to Kothras. Because you are obviously her pet and not a free person. Mayhap you feel this to be a waste of your talents, which could doubtlessly be put to nobler use. If so, I should remind you that more good can be accomplished with the stroke of a pen than the thrust of a sword. Crap. A meeting with the Ishgardian ambassador? By all means, I think it's a wonderful idea. We have received no reports of etheric disturbances or unusual beast trap activities of late. Holy crap. If Alphino believes your presence may help him secure more favorable terms, I see no reason to deny him. Antecedent. I take it that Saphrine has explained the situation? She has. Yet welcome though these overtures are, I cannot help but wonder what prompted them. The Ishgardians have spurned all contact with the other city-states for decades. Why reach out now? Would that I knew. Their question of their motives is one which I have given no small amount of thought. Alas, I know more than is generally known. The notoriously reclusive nation of Ishgard, situated at the center of Albathia's spine, ruled by the Ishgardian Orthodox Church, at the head of which presides the Archbishop. Members of the original Eorzean Alliance, formed in the wake of the Alamigo fall some 2 decades ago. Friends of the Convenience, who withdrew from the Alliance as soon as the Imperial fleet was routed at the Battle of Silvertear Skies. Since which time their borders have remained closed to all outsiders. They have rejected every one of their former allies' call to reopen dialogue, turning a deaf ear to their neighbors' pleas even when the calamity loomed at large. And on the fields of Cartano, where brave men and women lay down their lives in defense of the realm, their banners were conspicuously absent. I have tried to convince Ishgard to rejoin the Alliance in every opportunity. I have explained over and over again that unless Eorzea stands united, we cannot hope to preserve our freedom. One by one, our nations will fall, as once fell Alamigo. And what has mine efforts yielded? Why not? Surely this can be considered a step in the right direction? I should hope so. Rather than lowly messengers we have been fobbed off with in the past, this time we shall meet with a man of genuine influence. Of course, I'm not so naive as to think they will come out of their goodness of their hearts. We have something they desire, though I have yet to find out what. But such is the nature of diplomacy. They will bring their agendas to the negotiating table, and so will I, along with a handful of incontrovertible truths. The Empire will be at our doorstep once more. Indeed, you may be assured that I will expound upon this point and others. Let us depart for Camp Dragonhead, Saphrine. Our old friend Lord Harshaphond is expecting us. Since our quest to recover the Enterprise, I understood you have further integrated yourselves with the man? Excellent work. His fondness may prove useful in our cause. Alright. Back to dealing with our boy Harchi. Bro. Ah, Saphrine, well, ever welcome sight. Our hearts have been stoked to blazing in preparation for your arrival, and it would not do such a distinguished personage to catch cold whilst enjoying our hospitality. A gesture much appreciated. I fear I shall ever struggle in these cold climes. Ah, good Master Alphinaud, an honor as always. Likewise, Lord Harshaphond. Forgive us yet another imposition. I fear we have relied overmuch on your aid ever since you were so generously assisted us in locating the Enterprise. Nonsense! Any debts incurred have long since been repaid. Besides, who can say what future might bring? House Four-Temps may even seek your aid in the newly formed Crystal Braves. In any case, I am simply delighted that the Holy See is at last willing to grant you an audience. No doubt your discoveries at Snowcloak helped justify that decision. This recent resurgence in heretical activities is a grave concern to us all. But to the matter at hand, Sir Emmerich arrived in Camp Dragonhead earlier, and I'm told he is eager to meet you at your first convenience. You're doubtlessly weary from your journeys and desirous to rest a while by the warmth of our hearth. But if you are willing to forgo such comforts, pray inform the knight stationed outside the accessory. He will grant you entrance and see word to the other attendees. And inviting as your hearth sounds, I think it best we proceed to the sensory forthwith. Alright, let's go to this insensitive insensory. We've been expecting you, madam. Pray take your ease inside, and I shall summon the others.
Have faith, my friend. You need only state your case with confidence and clarity.
Commander Leveilleur, it is both an honor and a pleasure to meet you. I am Emmerich, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights.
Alphino Leveilleur, at your service. Your reputation precedes you, Sir Emmerich. I think we will find that we have much in common.
Speaking of reputations, yours towers over us all. Does it not?
It does indeed, Lord Commander.
I am not too proud to admit that I have followed your activities with an interest bordering on fascination. Full glad was I to learn that you would be joining us. Now then, shall we begin?
We know full well that the Garleans will return in force ere long. What is more, we have yet to achieve a lasting victory over the primal menace. The beast tribes continue to summon their gods, and each incarnation is stronger than the last. Ishgard is not immune to these threats. I must reiterate that it would behoove your nation to rejoin the Eorzean Alliance.
Once again, I must respectfully disagree.
On what grounds?
Boy.
Despite their presence in Kurthus, the Ixal do not concern us. Their territorial claims pertain to Gridanian lands, and it is the people of Gridania whom they harry. Consequently, the Holy See judges this to be a Gridanian affair, and Ishgard does not intervene in the internal affairs of other nations. Even were that not the case, our forces are wholly committed to the Dravanian conflict. We have not the knights to spare. As for the Garleans, we are not ignorant of history. We have observed the rise and expansion of the Empire, and we agree that it is only a matter of time before they resume their campaign in Eorzea.
Then surely it would be in our best interests to present a united front.
Mayhap one day, but not yet. Gaius van Belsar is dead, and the legion of conscripts he left behind lacks the will to fight. We think it highly unlikely that they will emerge from behind the walls of their castra for some time.
Forgive me, but if Ishgard's position has not changed, why did you agree to this meeting?
It was not only as a representative of Ishgard that I came here.
Pardon?
It is not within my power to change Ishgardian policy, regardless of my personal feelings. There is, however, one area in which I may exert a measure of influence. Concerns have been raised over the supplies House Fortin has offered to Revenant's Toll. These have led to calls for restrictions on the provision of aid to foreign powers. I can ensure that the shipments continue unabated.
Sir Emmerich, we would be in your debt.
No, you would not, for I require something in exchange.
Tit for tat.
Of late, there has been a flurry of Dravanian activity, the purpose of which was not immediately clear. However, our astrologians have since observed alarming changes in the heavens. The dragon star waxes unnaturally bright, and there are whispers that it portends the resurrection of Midgard-Sorma.
The fallen guardian of Silvertear Falls? That's absurd.
Full many times have I gazed upon the dragon's corpse still wound around the Agrius, and wondered how different our world might be if it yet lived to plague the skies. I do not know, and I do not wish to know, nor does any son of Ishgard. Yet the mere presence of Dravanian forces is not sufficient grounds to send knights to Mordona, whatever our astrologians say. As I told you before, we have not the forces to spare.
But We do. So you will intervene on our behalf if we agree to watch over the Keeper of the Lake.
Do you accept these terms?
I do. I will see that you are kept abreast of any developments. I regret that we could not come to a similar agreement on other matters, but I understand that you are not at liberty to make such decisions. Nevertheless, I hope that what we have accomplished here today will serve to demonstrate to your countrymen that we can work together towards a common goal. Mayhap one day we shall look back on this moment as the first step towards a united Eorzea.
Mayhap we shall, Commander.
What is the meaning of this?
The caravan, my lord. It's been attacked.
Again.
It was Iceheart, my lord.
What? By the Fury! All our precautions were for naught?
That woman can just find the most inopportune time to make things difficult for us, doesn't she? Just when we're starting to make progress. And to make matters worse, the caravan they spoke of was bound for Revenant's Toll of all places. Honestly, were I so inclined, I should think that the gods were conspiring against us. Happily, however, I am not. I would know more of this attack. Let us speak with Lord Harshaphon and find out what he has learned. Alright. What do you got? My sincerest apologies for the interruption, my friends, but the situation is such that we must act swiftly. Damn it. If you would be so kind as to elaborate. Iceheart's heretics have fell upon the caravan bound for Revenant's Toll as it was passing through Boulder's Downs. 'Twas an ambush, swift and ruthless. An instant. Every knight was slain, every crate seized. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, they were gone. 'Twould be an impossible feat without knowledge of the route, knowledge to which only a select few are privy, I presume. Quite. We can pursue that avenue of inquiry in due course. It seems to me that examining the scene of the ambush should be our first concern. The trail is yet warm. We must act swiftly, as Lord Harshaphon said, lest crucial evidence be lost. You have a knack for discerning hidden truths, Saphrine. Why don't you go and inspect the ambush site in person? An excellent idea. Inform my men of your intent upon arrival. They will gladly share their findings. Damn it. Oh. Off we go. The snow-filled wander. We are going all the way close to Orm Vale. Oh, Bo. Well. I am worn out. God. Yeah, I'm definitely worn out from yesterday. Ah, here we go. That looks like a night. Move along, adventurer. Nothing for... Eh? Lord Harchfont bid you come speak with us? Can you just be... Beg your pardon, Scion. As you can see, they left nary a crate behind. Tipped the wagon for good measure, even. Well, things a bit odd, if you ask me. Wouldn't it be easier just to steal it? No damn sight hard to conceal, I'll allow. Reckon they came prepared, probably with wagons of their own hidden away off. Yeah, but pay no heed to my ramblings. Absent of proof, it's not but speculation. Might be as the squire receiving care at the observatory could tell you something more factual. That is, if he's awake. Unlike myself, he was there during the attack. Not that his presence accounted for much. So there was a survivor. Okay. We don't have to go into one of these stupid towers again. We down? No. Here? No. Up. Here. You come to ask about the tech, haven't you? We came upon them before the entrance to the Hall of the Seven Echoes. Pilgrims marked them as lost and ill-equipped for a journey furthest north. Our leader called out to them, and one stepped forward to answer. Slowly she approached, her silver hair flowing in the wind like melting snow. Just a young girl, I thought. Some poor lost lamb in search of salvation? Our leader must have thought the same, else why would he let her draw so close? They exchanged some words I couldn't hear, and she leaned forward as if to kiss his cheek. Then he sighed and crumpled to the ground. I didn't know what happened till I saw the snow turn red. And there was red everywhere I looked. I tried to fight, but took a blow to the head, and by the time I came to, the others were dead and the heretics were unloading the wagon. They'd have to kill me, so I just lay still and listened. Iceheart's people spoke of deliverance and resurrection, and they spoke of Shiva. Goody! Another primal! Because all it takes is ether and devotions. For the low, low cost of your soul and your servitude, you could have your very own primal. Alright, I'm gonna have to shut that down. Because it's starting to... I mean, it is Kothras, so that is kind of normal. Ah, you have returned. What news have you for us? It seems Lady Iceheart doesn't scruple to sully her hands with blood. Who is this Shiva the heretic spoke of? Have you not read a single line of the Enchiridion, Master Alphina? Shiva was a traitor to Kin Kilth, an apostate who lay down with the dragons. No, we cannot expect all foreigners to know of Ishgardian scripture so well, particularly when it concerns the patron saints of the heretics. Wait, did you say their patron saint? Oh no, it all makes sense now. Lord Harshfont, what was in the caravan's cargo? If I recall correctly, a diamond forge had requested a rather large quantity of crystals. Do you not see? Icehearts and her followers intend to summon Shiva. as a beast tribe would primal. Why else would they go through such lengths to secure crystals? I shall inform the Lord Commander at once. Lord Harshfont, you would agree that discretion is paramount of concern? Of course. I trust we can count on your continued support, Master Alphino. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn are sworn to combat the primal threat. Our support is given. I will need to send word to my brethren in Revenant's Toll. Our entire order must turn its efforts to preventing this summoning. Naturally, that includes you, though I am sure you would not miss this for the world. All right. The persistent attack on Akabaran seems little more than a nuisance at first. The heretics were a problem, to be sure, but a relatively minor one. That was before I discerned the purpose behind their attacks, of course. Now they have my undivided attention. After appraising Menphilia of the situation, I shall summon forth a unit of Crystal Braves to assist us. As for you, Saphrine, pray join me at White Brim Front. Since the incident at Snowcloak, the Knights of House Durandre have redoubled their reconnaissance efforts in the region. It is my hope that they have information which may help us to determine precisely where the heretics are hiding. Given our mutual enemy, Lord Drillmont should be eager to oblige us. I shall see you there then. Good? Crap. I was literally just saying earlier about how I hate these towers. Now I gotta deal with Drillmont at the top one. Scions of the Seventh Dawn wish to join the hunt for Iceheart? Your assistance is more than welcome, my friends. Considering the report I just received, I dare say your timing could be no better. We are all ears, Lord Drillmont. A band of pilgrims was seen transporting a large number of crates to the west. Their garb appears to match the description provided by the squire who survived the attack. Alas, our scouts lost track of them at Snowcloak, that self-same frozen wall which we speculated might conceal the heretics' hideaway. Suffice it to say, the disappearance of these pilgrims and their provisions all but confirms our suspicions. I have heard enough. My knights will join the hunt. I took liberty of summoning a unit of Crystal Braves to White Brim Front. Given the gravity of the situation, I trust you will agree that we must use every resource available to us. These are extraordinary circumstances, Commander. 'Twould be in our best interest to coordinate our efforts. Such was my intent from the start, Sir Ambrick. And so it begins, my friend, though I dare say it will prove to brief collaboration. Iceheart will not elude the combined forces of the Crystal Braves and the Temple Knights for long. Nevertheless, a wise man does not wager all upon the success of a single solution. There may yet be subtler means by which we can locate the heretic's lair. Mayhap Lord Drillmont has one in mind. Yes, yes. Excellent. My lady, everything has been accounted for. If there's aught else you would have us do, pray speak, and it shall be done. Interesting choice there. It seems as though we are always one step behind. Our quarry is ever just beyond our reach. Though I would like to believe that the tables are about to be turned, I must confess I am having certain doubts. A joint effort may succeed where others have failed, but it could yield yet the self-same result. Fortunately, we are not without other options. I trust you haven't forgotten Inquisitor Gilliman. We have not. The mystery of how the heretic remained undiscovered for so long has been much in our thoughts, as has the question of what steps might have be taken to prevent a similar breach of security in the future. Accordingly, we have conducted an exhaustive and covert evaluation of everyone at White Brim Front. Though some were found to have committed certain minor transgressions, we identified one possible heretic. If this man has pledged himself to Iceheart's cause, he'll have taken note of the movement of the Temple Knights and Crystal Braves, and upon recognizing their intent, he may attempt to warn the heretics. The man's watch is ending soon, at which point he must report to Sir... Oh, crap. Jean Tremont in the yard. I would have you keep an eye on him. If he ventures beyond the walls, follow him discreetly. Should he meet with a heretic, do not interfere. Simply watch and listen. I've seen to it that the suspect knows nothing of which could endanger our plans. Crap. Follow that guard. And just think, in future expansions, they create a whole stealth mechanic for this. Which honestly doesn't make it any better. Oh, the zone fade is up. Sweet. Off screen, thank you. Hey! Hey! Where in the Seven Hills are you? I'm freezing my bollocks off here. I'm here, you blundering oaf. What are you late? Standing on the wall. Why else? I have duties to fulfill, you know. Your sole duty is to the... Bloody Echo. Lower your voice, or heal us and White Brim front. Yes, yes, of course. Temple Knights are in Snowcloak. This is what you bring to me? We already knew about our comrades. Boulder Downs will use the tunnels. Dead before they'll know what happened. Nevertheless, if you waste my time again, is that clear? Well, it wasn't the most informative spy mission, but we got something. I think. Well then, what did your investigation bear fruit? I see. I shall have the man detained at once. His guilt was plain. You could have heard their words more clearly. Yet a few snatches you were able to make out are nonetheless enlightening. It would seem the heretics are aware of our operation and confident that they can thwart it. Their comrades in Boulder Downs are key to their plans, which means it is key to our plans that they be rooted out and put to the sword. Damn it. We have long suspected that the heretics use a network of secret tunnels to traverse the highlands undetected. Given what you overheard, I fear that Snowcloak may be riddled with such passageways, and that the heretics in Boulder Downs are planning to use them to take our forces unawares. Needless to say, we could not allow that to happen. A contingent of House Dundray Knights are on patrol in the area, and I shall order them to begin searching for the heretics at once. But knowing nothing of our enemy's numbers or readiness, I cannot say for sure that they will be sufficient. It would put my mind at ease if you would consent to assist my knights with the search. I know that they would take courage from the presence of so storied a warrior. Pray rendezvous with them at Boulder Downs. If Halo is kind, we may catch these heretics before their plans come to fruition. Show them no mercy, Saphrine. The lives of all our allies are at stake. I do not think I could cross the mountain. I believe there's going to be a barrier right here. Oh, no. I was wrong. Let's see, what do we got over here? More? And more. This. Their personal effects. Crap. And now, back to White Brim. Oh. My knight sent no word of your coming, Saphrine. What has happened? What is that in your hand? Careful, it's brittle. By the Fury, those were veterans with years in service. And now they lie dead in the snow. Their bodies must be recovered, and... No. We have not the men to spare. Not now. Not while Iceheart prepares to summon an abomination. The heretics you dispatched were not of sufficient number to contend with the combined strength of Temple Knights and the Crystal Braves. There must be others, and I'll wager that they are on their way to Snowcliff as we speak. To make matters worse, it seems the traitor you followed managed to pass the heretics something of value after all. The parchment you recovered is a timetable of the guardsman's watches at our post in Snowcloak. The traitor was stationed there long before he aroused our suspicions. Would that we had caught him sooner. With this information, the heretics would know when the watch was weakest. They could use their tunnels with impunity and prepare their ambush. Timetable has not been changed, you see. Of course, now it will be changed. But the heretics may already be in position. House Dundry must send reinforcements, even if it means withdrawing knights from Stone Vigil. I could see no other way to safeguard the lives of our allies. Time is of the essence, Saphrine. While my knights make ready to depart, the heretics may take our allies and Snowcloak unawares. Superior training and equipment will avail them not if they are cut down ere their swords are drawn. But all is not yet lost. If you leave now, there may still be time to warn them. Make haste, I beseech you. Fly to Snowcloak and tell Sir Emmerich everything we have discovered. Crap. Saphrine, this is a welcome surprise, perhaps the only one thus far. As you can see, we have yet to uncover any hidden... You have my gratitude. Truth be told, we suspected the heretics might be plotting such an attack. Now that we have confirmation, I shall place my knights on high alert. Has Commander Levier been informed? The Braves must be made aware. It must be here. I am certain of it. Why else would they go through such lengths to defend Snowcloak? 'Tis but a pity this discovery comes when our enemy has us at such a disadvantage. Forewarned though we be, the heretics know the terrain far better than we. I dare not think of how many are watching us at this very moment. Confound it. This is all wrong. Iceheart has us scrambling to save her own skin when we should be rightfully straining every sinew to find her. And stop this damnable summonage. There she is. Come here, girl. That was close. They didn't hurt you, did they? Only my pride, Ida. Here. There will be others nearby. We must see that they are given similarly warm welcome. Commander Levier. There's been a development, sir. Together with the Temple Knights, we've secured the entrance to some half-dozen tunnels after spotting the enemy breaking the surface. That's not all, sir. We think that one of them may be important. Certainly, heretics near flung themselves upon their swords to defend it. Ah, it is just as I suspected. Among this worn tunnel lies the entrance to Iceheart's lair. Some of the others, we are going in. A moment, Alphino. The tunnel in question is barely wide enough for 2 men abreast. We could not say for any certain where it leads, much less what is waiting for us there. Furthermore, we have no way of knowing how many heretics are still lurking within here on the surface. What if they were to converge on this point after we enter the tunnel? For all we know, they could be funneling their forces into a trap. I take your point. If the tunnel is indeed as narrow as you say, a greater number would prove more of a hindrance than a help. Should we encounter difficulty, our own allies would become an obstacle to escape. A change of plans. Well, rendezvous with Sir Emmerich and keep heretics at bay here. You will go wherever that tunnel leads. If you find Hysard at the end of it, do not let her escape. You venture into the unknown. See to it that you are prepared for anything. I suggest you call upon your allies, though not too many, or Papalymo will sulk. I think that last part was unnecessary. The entrance to the tunnel, ma'am? It's just over there. Had we not seen the heretics breaking the surface, we had never noticed it. Per Sir Emmerich's orders, we will stand a guard outside. Please be aware that should you encounter significant resistance, we cannot leave our post. And we get a dungeon. And I don't feel like waiting, so we'll go in with whatever crew comes up. Oh, this one. I was trying to remember what Snowcloak was. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Gooby. Incoming. Let's see. We got wolves. You know, let me pull these as well. There we go. Ow, fuck you. Try to get this sped up a little bit. Even though NPCs do not AoE. Come on, y'all can finish it. There you go. And we get a bear. Oh, the key. That the bear had inside of it. Don't ask where. Ooh, got it just in time. Alright, time for the first big guy. And this, I believe... Okay. That was bright. Yep, and that's move around freeze mechanic, which gets used a lot more later on in the game. Crap, that is bright. I'm not gonna even bother looting. I think this place mostly has tokens for turning, and it's just such a waste of inventory space. Alright. These sprites can be a massive pain. That's how well they hit. And the fact that they stay at somewhat of a range. Alright, let's see if we can get you all the way up here. Yep. And yep, I fucked that up. I tried. That was a little too much. Alright, do I have a potion? Yes, I do. Why is it on my bars? Alright, let's take care of this guy first. We should be able to pull the rest together. There we go. That's better. Alright, big guy number 2 is gonna have a lot of snowballs. If I remember right. Yep, here they come. And you're gonna make that one big, so we go over here. Shit. What? Oh, give me that crap. Out and in. This time we're gonna make 2 big. Alright. That's done with. Now comes the fun part. You know, you could have brought them further. Since they're gonna explode when they close to death. Alright. Now the part that gets annoying, these individuals convert themselves. Not these people, obviously. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. next. Is there? Yeah, there's a third one. A fourth one, too. Can you please get them all together? Guess that's the best we're getting. And now this big guy. There we go. Now comes the individuals who can convert themselves into wyverns. That's just an AoE, which has no range. It hits everywhere in here. Really? I had that. Come on. All right, and they drop another key of sorts. All right, and it's time for Puppy. Oops. That's going to be an AoE raid wide. Void the crystals as they fall. And for this fun attack, you gotta hide behind one. And then move away after the crystal breaks. Or before the crystal breaks. Tank Buster, I got nothing ready for that, so you're just gonna eat it. That is a narrow cone attack. And this time around with the crystals, only one of them is going to be strong enough to stay behind. Yeah, it must be nice to have a ranged ability. And there we go with the Tank Buster again. Oh, yeah. And that's the raid wide. cone attack. And that was Snowcloak. Yeah, I'm not including that. Screw that. And that is going to be useful later on.
The tales do not do you justice, warrior of light. Yes, I know who you are, and you know who I am. I was given the name Izel, but I earned the name Iceheart. This endless cycle of hatred, of bloodshed, of sorrow. You would see it continue, O noble warrior of light. I would not. I will not. I will bring an end to this war between dragon and man, no matter the cost. In time, you will come to understand that what we do for the greater good. For Eorzea, for Hydaelyn.
Interesting. Kind of looks like the Beast Tribe Aetherites. That took longer than expected. What news, Saphrine? So Iceheart is but a pseudonym? Not that it matters. She managed to escape is regrettable, but from your description of that beast, you did well to come close as you did. In any case, now that you have cleared a path, the Temple Knights can begin to survey the tunnels in earnest. Mayhap they will even find a route past the ice wall. Wouldn't that do wonders for their fight against the heretics? The Crystal Braves would certainly share in the credit, too. 12 be praised, Saphrine. We may yet return the situation to our advantage. Assuming we stop Iceheart before she summons Shiva, of course. Needless to say, our fellow Scions have not been idle. Minfilia and Urianger have been busy perusing the archives of House Fortemps, gathering what information they can on Shiva. Which reminds me, you were intended to trudge back to Camp Dragonhead to report on today's activities? Don't. The antecedent should be here any moment. I can only assume some people enjoy subjecting themselves to this cold. Antecedent? You've come straight from the archives of House Fortemps. I trust your time there proved fruitful. Would that I had. Urianger scoured countless texts, but what we found was questionable veracity. Accounts of Shiva's life, deeds are sparse and contradictory, only agreeing on one point. She laid down with the dragon, the gravest of all sins according to Ishgardian faith. Yet in the eyes of Iceheart's followers, this was a holy act, a blessed union of man and dragon. How such a thing could even be possible is quite another question. Suffice it to say, I very much doubt that we'll find any useful answers in the archives of House Fortemps. Much knowledge has been lost over the centuries, though in this case, one wonders if it is by circumstance or design. You said that Iceheart took a moment to plead her case prior to escaping, did you not? Viewed without prejudice, most would agree that bringing an end to an endless war serves the greater good. I think Sir Emmerich might take issues with her methods. I do not care if a few stragglers manage to escape. Until the sappers confirm that the tunnel is safe, the men are not to search it. Yes, Lord Commander. You pursue your foe with less zeal than I expected, Sir Emmerich. Lest you misunderstand, I do not deny that our enemy has given us good reason to be prudent. I merely meant you being a man of faith that I had expected a certain single-mindedness. After all, was it not by the will of Helone that your ancestors did come to this land? Why they then took up arms against the Dravanians? What would they have done in your position, I wonder? There are those who believe that faith is renunciated of free will, that unquestioning devotion is required of all who would live in service of the Fury. Alright, I need to take a little break to clear my throat, because this is getting bad. Be back in just a moment. Alright, we're back on that one. Sorry about that. Such righteous fervor may serve well a knight on the front line, less so a leader of men. We are all at liberty to interpret the scriptures as we will. I choose to believe that the Fury would value lives of her followers over the death of her enemies. But I would not presume to speak for Knights of Eld. 'Twas a different time, nay, a different era, and the scriptures tell us only so much. Would that it told us more. That man is awfully pragmatic for a servant of the Holy See. A welcome trade at the negotiating table would be sure, less so when one's enemies are making ready to harness the power of a god. Mayhap he does not truly believe that Iceheart's plans can succeed? Truth be told, I too remain somewhat skeptical. Shiva was a real living, breathing woman. Of that there can be no doubt. In this respect, she differs from every other figure to have been summoned, each of whom was worshipped as a god. The sole exception being good King Magomag XII, the myth made manifest in response to the fervent supplications of the Mughals Guard. Saint Shiva may differ, but what of the heretics? They are a tribe of outcasts at war with the mighty nation who yearn for the resurrection of the one who embodies their beliefs. If that is not placing one's faith in a higher power, then what is? Crystals in convocation, Minfilia. They have both in abundance. Can that be truly all that is required? My survey team has concluded a preliminary analysis of the Aetheryte Iceheart used to escape. They believe she teleported to another Aetheryte, somewhat not far to the west. Despite the apparent proximity of this second Aetheryte, however, they have some wholly unable to detect the presence directly. Thus Iceheart has some means of masking its signal. I can only presume she has destroyed it to prevent us from following her. Without the means to teleport as she did, we have no choice but to search for an alternate route. Most likely a tunnel, assuming one exists. Let us not give up on the teleportation just yet. One of our colleagues in Charlene may be able to help us. I pray that you are right. I dare not think how long it will take us to survey the entire tunnel system. While Minfilia looks into the Aetheryte problem, I would like to request your assistance on another matter. The third unit is currently tracking the remnants of the heretic force which attacked us. However, the search goes poorly, despite our numbers. Kothras is vast, and Iceheart followers know the terrain far better than we do. Your knowledge of this region may serve to hasten the process. The sooner we capture Iceheart's followers, the sooner we can press them for their leader's whereabouts. And though it is admittedly a selfish request, I feel that my braves would benefit immensely from working us alongside you. While we have our share of veterans, we also have a few less experienced recruits, many of whom look up to you in case you are not aware. Good. Knew you would understand. Yuyahase can appraise you of the details. When the task is complete, come find me at the observatorium. Captain Ilbert and I are meeting there to discuss the latest developments in his investigation. The Temple Knight shall hold Stonecloak in our absence. Let us leave them to their work. Ours is more pressing. Good Lord. There you are, Saphrine. Commander Levier instructed me to wait here for you. Your assistance is most welcome, believe me. Most of the Third hail from Yulda. And for a man accustomed to the field of sand beneath his boots, the crunch of snow can be rather disconcerting. But to the matter at hand, nary a moment ago, I received word that heretics we seen have been spotted making for Danfin Pass. My braves are already in pursuit. I should be grateful if you'd join them. I myself shall be taking part in the hunt. Never let it be said that I do not earn my coin. Alright, let's go find some more heretics. We got 9 to go? Yeah, it's not too bad. Thal's balls, my ankle's on fire. Cut my boot on a rock or something and twisted and fell. There's one up ahead through Denfin Pass. Hurry, you might catch up. If you aren't sure where to go, look for tracks. Snow is fresh, so they shouldn't be too hard to find. Alright, here's the pass. Where is everybody? Back in the Boulder Downs, really? Scion, what are you doing here? The heretics? I'm not sure. There's a great scaled beast in House. I think he went east on his own. The heretics split up, so we did too. Well, let's see what we got. That's one. That's two. And that's a Lala. How embarrassing. I was so intent on following the heretics' tracks that I almost failed to notice that they had doubled back. Almost, mind you. One had tried to sneak up behind me, but I got a knife in his gut before his own trouble. Thought myself alone, so I started searching the dead man's knapsack for anything of interest, and lo and behold, before his friends found me, I came upon this. Withdraw in groups of 3 or less to the observatorium. Give the sniggle and wait. The merchant will be watching. Be late and be left for dead. Speaks for itself, does it not? They can't possibly mean to rendezvous inside the place, so we should restrict our search to the surrounding areas. Let me rephrase that. You should restrict your search to the wilderness around the observatorium. I will need more than a moment's rest to recover from these wounds. Alright. Back to the observatorium. You know, for how often this place gets hit, you'd think they'd be more cautious. I am through listening with your excuses. We leave now. How? The woods are crawling with those blue coats, and the knights are searching every wagon that passes through the gates. Well, stay with her then, if you think you'll fare any better. No, there's no need for that. There are places like this in my homeland. Sacred snow-capped peaks where blood must not be shed. Yet your lands ever thirst for the blood of the fallen, and by your deeds it has drunk deep. No, I have done nothing wrong. None but meat and secret with heretics. Deny it all you will. We shall have the truth from you yet. Inquisitors are not, well, like ones skilled in the art of interrogation. Damn it all. Fancy meeting you here, Saphrine. I presume your work with the Third brought you hither? What's a tangle web? Lest you wonder, we came not here for the heretics, but for the merchant who has been conspiring with them. It came to our attention during our course of investigation as the Ivy. It beggars belief, I know, but it seems that our favorite Garlean spy may have been providing assistance to Iceheart. Were it not for the efforts of Lady Yugiri and her shinobi, we might not never discover this connection. Master Alphino is too kind. I fear my people and I have done little to aid your search for the spy. We long to strike back against the Empire and weaken their influence in this land, to prevent tragedy which befell Doma from reoccurring. The days ahead and the work they promise will require a very particular set of skills. Skills which I am fortunate enough to possess. If you will allow it, I would accompany you until this investigation is complete. That is a most generous offer, Lady Yugiri, and one which I gladly accept. Thank you. Though I may disappear for a time, know that I shall never be far, and shall always be watching. A comforting thought. Come, Saphrine, let us wait inside for Captain Ilbert to return and deliver his report. All right. And how did I get stuck on that? Captain Ilbert seems confident that the merchant's resolve would swiftly crumble when pressed. If so, we should have new information ere long. As to whether or not it'll bring any closer to learning Ivy's identity, I would rather not say. Given our adversary's cunning, I shall consider us fortunate if we are spared another wild dodo chase. The gods know we have had more than enough to occupy our time as it is. Captain Ilbert, your report, if you will. Oh. Aye, Commander. Firstly, with regard to the heretic we captured, I regret to say that the man could tell us not. We did not already know about Shiva. We have since handed him over to Ishgardian authorities. Henceforth, the Holy See will pursue the matter independently. Our inquiries concerning Ivy, however, have proven more fruitful. We have ascertained the channel by which the heretics acquired their information on the shipping routes. Go on. You'll recall the flame we first identified as being Ivy's employer. From him, we were able to trace the trail of conspirators, each taking a closer look to his master. Alas, the trail came to an abrupt end. Fearing that the investigation had been compromised, we took necessary steps of detaining all suspected of conspiracy. There are 5 on the list, including the flame stationed at Revenant's Toll. The man's primary duty was to keep an inventory of donations from abroad, particulars of which he would share with his benefactors. thereby ensuring that needs did not go unfulfilled. By virtue of his role, he was privy to the details of all shipments bound for the settlement. Needless to say, that included those originating from House Fortemps. He knew of the precise route the caravan would take, and he sold that information to a merchant. I think I can guess which one. None other. With a little encouragement, he soon confessed to knowingly aiding and abetting the heretics. Well, that is one mystery solved, at least. But what of Ivy? Are we any closer to pressing off his mask? I dare say we are, Commander. Our relentless pursuit has forced him into committing a grave error. In a desperate bid to cover his tracks, Ivy resorted to exercising certain administrative powers available only to high-ranking members of the Immortal Flames. If you consider that then our investigation is known to barely a handful of them, the field of suspects is greatly narrowed. You mean to say that the agent is among Raban's innermost circle? Someone who has been with him since the Immortal Flames establishment? 'Tis the most possible explanation. The infiltration likely occurred during the company's founding, with the groundwork for the act being laid beforehand. To slip into a position of authority unremarked and remain above suspicion all these years. I too was surprised, though I really should have not been. Of the three grand companies, Uldal was ever more vulnerable to infiltration. Both Limsa Laminsa and Gridani had long-standing armed forces that lent themselves well to the formation of the Maelstrom and the Order of the Twin Adders. To all intents and purposes, it was the same before, the loyal one's mind. Under the same leadership. Only the banner was different. Not so the Flames. Uldal's military was made up of disparate orders, most of which were glorified mercenary companies that answered only to their own paymasters. Hardly an ideal environment to which to establish something as high-minded as a grand company. Difficulties Raban faced when founding the Immortal Flames are well known. Even after he convinced his fellow syndicate members to share the cost, there remained a small matter of finding enough bodies to fill the ranks. Indeed. And given the pressing nature of the Imperial threat, that meant recruiting every passing sellsword. It's the chaos of its founding, it would have been child's play to infiltrate the company. Good deal easier than it is now, eh? The Immortal Flames have ever been caught between conflicting interests, public and private. Though the monitorists ultimately agreed to supporting the organization's founding, 'twas not out of charity as that they did so, but simply self-preservation. Had Nail Van Darnus' ambition been less apocalyptic, you may be sure that they would never have risked supplying Raban with an army. 'Tis but a wonder they did not attempt to extinguish the flames that moment the danger had passed. Returning to the present. Even as we speak, our Doman allies are shadowing several high-ranking flames. Anyone who could have been the Ivy. Desiring to deal a blow against the Empire, the refugees were eager to lend us their aid. I expect to hear from them ere long. Very good. Pray continue on your investigation with the first. Meanwhile, have the second attend to the unrest. The third can join the fourth in inspecting the crystal shipments. If they notice anything unusual, I want to know about it. If Shiva is summoned, in the like manner to the other primals, the heretics will be looking for further supplies. Understood, Commander. I shall send word to Sir Emric informing him of our success in identifying the heretics' abettors. Hopefully the information will be of some use to Ishgardians. It is time, Commander. Yes, I am aware. An emergency council of the Alliance leaderships has been called. There have been developments in Garlemald, it would seem. As commander of the Crystal Braves, my presence has been requested. I would have you accompany Saphrine. As the realm's stoutest champion, it is only met that you be present for the discussion. Oh, and the antecedent has already given his consent, lest you worry. Your master... whatever. Like me, you are doubtlessly eager to conclude our business with Iceheart, but another path to her sanctum is found. She will remain beyond our reach. Minfilia and the Archons are sparing no effort to secure an alternate route. Until such time as they succeed, I suggest we give some thought to the other realms' problems. I shall go on to Gridania in readiness for the upcoming council. Meet me at Nuffica's altar and we shall make our way to the Lotus Den together. So we're having the meeting in Gridania this time, rather than Ul'dah, where we can all sit and relax. Over here. Crap, I'm tired. Wait. My thanks for coming, Saphrine. When you are ready, speak with the conjurer yonder. She will show us to the Lotus Stand.
Change has come to the Garlean Empire, and we must discuss the implications.
The rumors are true, then? The War of Succession is ended?
It is. A new emperor reigns in Garlemald.
Who?
The birth and all too rapid expansion of the Garlean Empire is commonly attributed to the strategic brilliance of Solus Zosgalvis, yet he did not rule alone. Several members of the royal household also distinguished themselves during his reign. Nevertheless, it was the eldest son who stood to inherit the throne, until his most untimely passing.
I thought us fortunate when I learned that the Emperor had died without naming a successor.
Would that the Garlean Empire had died with him.
Twas the grandson and his uncle who had the strongest claims, was it not?
Indeed, yet claims count for little without the power to assert them. High Legatus Varus Ye Galvus is a respected military leader, not so his uncle.
So, young Varus has torn the crown from his uncle's grasp and taken his place at the head of the Empire.
Given the troubled nature of his succession, the new emperor will require time to seal his grip on power. Yet have no doubt but that he shall, for there are none left with strength enough to oppose him.
Since the success of Operation Archon, the remnants of the 14th Legion and the forces occupying Alamigo have done naught but fortify their positions. But you can be sure they'll be ready to march on us again, if their Emperor gives the word.
When, not if. They say this Varus was so set upon Eorzean annexation that he spoke out against the Meteor Project.
Plainly, the new emperor's intentions are of great concern to us all. I propose that we set aside the Cartano dispute for the present, and discuss what measures the Alliance might take to prepare for a resumption of hostilities with Garlemald. Moreover, I move that we re-examine the question of how our former allies in Ishgard might be persuaded to retake their place at our side. Could Eorzea but stand as one, 'twould deal a grave blow to our enemies' ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose we should be grateful that they have finally acknowledged the inevitability of Imperial attack. Who knows? They may even do something about it. If only the leaders of Ishgard would follow their example and stop hiding behind their gates, praying for the coming storm to pass them by. But that is a discussion for another time. At present, I am more concerned by the fact that the Alliance's mooted preparations will be made known to the Garleans many moons before their coming. So long as the Ivy eludes our grasp, no secret is safe.
Hey. Garlemald has their new emperor. Yay! It will not have escaped your notice that the nations of Eorzea are no nearer to being of one purpose, yet despite their protestations to the contrary, plainly the threat of resurgent Garlemald is not enough to stir them. And the reason for this? Deep-rooted mistrust among the Sinistry. The nation's leaders can come to all the understanding they like, but their unity means little, if less, to the common folk. Take the Lominsons, for instance. Though Admiral Merriweb outlawed piracy over a decade ago, foreigners still pictured the nation as having a grog-swilling, wooden-laid cutthroats. And likewise, Gridanians are mocked as hermits who walk to the trees, and the Uldans scorned as swindlers who worship coin. Not that such sentiments are entirely without grounds, of course. Take that pillar of Uldalan society, Telegiala de Legi, for example. But that is besides the point. The fact that the people are wary of outsiders, whether they cause be or not. On that basis, one could argue that the conflict at Cartano is necessary evil. Each nation has its own warmongering faction that advocates the acquisition of Omega. In order to placate them, we present them something resembling warfare, thereby curb their appetite for full-scale conflict. But enough idle musings, let us speak of more pressing matters. The Ivy. Since we spoke at the observatorium, Captain Ilbert has further shortened his list of suspects. And by happy coincidence, one of them is deemed most likely candidate has lately come to Gridania. The hunt nears its end, Saphrine. All that remains is to corner our quarry. Seek out Ilbert near the Adder's Nest. He'll have the particulars for you. Should there be any developments in Kothras, you may be sure that I will send word without delay. In the meantime, I wish you success in apprehending the Ivy. Alright. Yeah, we go this way. Actually, this will probably be quicker. My thanks for coming, Scion. Doubtless the commander has informed you, but we have unmasked the Ivy. From this point, we must proceed with extreme caution. Listen well, the spy we've been seeking all this time is none other than Flame Marshalline Relaine, Ralbon's second in command. Prior to joining the Immortal Flames, she was a mercenary of no small renown. They say her skill with the polearm has to be seen to be believed. Of Ishgardian birth, she is the highest ranked foreigner in the Immortal Flames, barring the Flame General himself, of course. When he formed the Grand Company, Ralbon chose people based on their worth. Whence they hailed was of no interest. The monitors saw things differently, however. Having funded the entire enterprise, they reserved the right to reject candidates nominated for high-ranking positions. And 'twas no secret that they did not favor foreigners, Ishgardians especially, after the way the Holy See forsook the Alliance. Yet the monitors did not raise so much as a murmur of protest when Relaine was appointed to their post. Passing strange, is it not? Could it be that the Ivy has some hold over the monstrous? But these revelations are secondary to our current mission. Of foremost interest is Rolaine's presence here now. As you may be aware, it is the duty of the Flame Marshal to command the Immortal Flames in the absence of the Flame General. While Ralbon is attended the Council of the Alliance leaders, she should have remained in the Hall of Flames, even though she herself was in the Council. The woman has no business being in Gridania, yet she is here nonetheless on some pretense. She is up to something, mark my words. Even as we speak, I have half a dozen men trawling the Flames records for evidence of Rolaine's guilt. But if we catch her red-handed, we shall have all the proof we need. Which brings me to the plan. I have people watching the city gates, the airship landings, and the docks. Everyone points of egress. She could not leave without our knowledge. All that remains is to shadow her until she betrays her true purpose. Can I rely on your eyes, Scion? You have my thanks. Let us go then, and take care not to alert our quarry. All right. There you are. Rolly is headed in the direction of Blue Badger Gate. With me, Scion. So, Role has entered Carlia Canopy, meeting someone perchance? Or could it be that she means to board an airship? Pray look for her within. If she is not on the upper floor, try the landing area below. One of mine is stationed there, and she may have seen something. F me is her name, and I shall remain here in case Role appears. Okay, not up there. Let's check down here. Saphrine Kanakuro, such an unexpected pleasure. What brings you here? A social bit, you say? How pleasant. No, she didn't come this way. I noted every passenger and none bore any resemblance. Well, don't let me keep you. So, did you see her? Nowhere to be seen, you say? And you're sure she did not board an airship? She did not come back out either. Where in the Seven Hills could she have gone? The Roost. How could I forget? Greetings, good sir. Might I interest you in some muck toy tonic? Cup a day and be as a man with great vigor, if you take my meaning. Perhaps another time, friend. Wait, that necklace. You're a shinobi of Doma. The woman you seek has left Gardania by way of West Shore Pier. She was attired as a merchant, but these eyes are not so easily deceived. You may wish to take up your search into East Shroud. Rest assured we shall continue to support you from the shadows. Thank the 12 for the Domans. Were it not for their unique talents, Relaine would have disappeared without a trace. Whew. Ah. Our hunt leads us to East Shroud, Scion. I suggest we follow Relaine's example and take the ferry from West Shore Pier. You'll doubtlessly wish to make certain preparations. See to them while I go on ahead. I shall wait for you at Sweet Bloom Pier. Alright, do I have to actually go to the pier, or can I just go to the Shroud? Yeah. Alright, let's track down this individual. Ooh. There we go. This way, my friends. Oh, that was you, Gary. Whoopsie. Your quarry makes for Hawthorne Hut. If Roland is truly the one you seek, we can expect that she means to make contact with her Garlean masters there. An explanation is in order. You are no doubt aware that the Garleans have their own methods of communicating over great distances. Well, our ingenious friends at Garland Ironworks have provided us with a device which disrupts their communications, and we have installed them around the city-states. In doing so, we have made it difficult for Imperial agents to correspond with their masters. Roland would thus have no choice but rendezvous with her Imperial contact directly. Yet, a well-known face in the Mortal Flames, she could not move about Thanland without being recognized. It would only be a matter of time before someone saw through her disguise. 'Tis for this reason I believe she's chosen the Black Shroud for her clandestine mating. The Elizin are a common sight here, and her coming and goings are not likely to turn any heads. As my scouts tell it, the Garleans have sent agents with the mind to destroy the devices and render such direct contact unnecessary. Fortunately, our shinobi has thus far been successful in rebuffing their efforts. This is it. We only need to make for Hawthorne Hut and catch Roline in the act. Alright, Hawthorne Hut should be... Oh no, it's the Aetheryte. I thought it was the other place. My bad. There we go. My people report that our quarry has departed for the Bramble Patch. The ivy returns to the gnarls whence she came, but perhaps it's all for the better. To convince someone of her standing will require damning evidence against her. What could be better than catch her in the act when she meets with the Garlean masters? My countrymen and I shall lie in wait in the shadows. Tread warily, my friends. Just beyond, Riley is in conversation with an individual clad in the manner of an adventurer. An imperial intermediary, no doubt. This is it, with me. Flame Marshal Elaine Rilane, you are under arrest for treason and espionage. You are followed? You bloody fool. Damnation. You are unarmed, my lady, and scarcely garbed for battle, but if you wish to fight, you are welcome to try. What is the meaning of this, Captain? You would arrest me for strolling in the Twelveswood. When I last looked, that was no crime, and neither it was conversing with passing strangers. You would feign ignorance, then. Very well. If you do not think of something to say, there will be plenty of time to say it later. Now come quietly, or I shall make you wish you had. I will offer no struggle. After all, I have naught to hide. Even a warrior of Rolane's renown could not have hoped to escape by force. Despite her claims, her surrender does not bespeak innocence, but an awareness that her position is untenable. With the ivy thus uprooted, it is be hoped that the tendrils she entwined around the immortal flames will gradually wither and die. Mayhap then the people of Ul'dah will have the grand company they deserve. But let us speak of the present. If I may ask, what will you do now, Saphrine? So the Scions seek a way into Iceheart's sanctum. Then I dare say you are eager to return to the Rising Stones. Pray do not let me keep you. Fear not, my countrymen and I shall tend to the aftermath. You need not waste your talents here. And speaking of talents, have you considered training the art of shinobi? You have the aptitude for it, I believe, so please give it some thought. Till next time, my friend. Maybe later. Much, much later. Oh, that sort of wrapped up somewhat simply and easily. Wow. There's something you don't see every day. This is the Lalafell that had difficulty getting a carbuncle to behave. Anyway. Welcome back, Saphrine. I understand that Alphino has a task for you. May I ask what it was? Charges of treason and espionage against Elena Relaine. I can scarce believe it. Could there not have been some manner of misunderstanding? No, it avails us not to dwell on it. Whatever the truth may be, we must trust the authorities to uncover it. Let us speak of another matter. I am pleased to report that we have made progress in our efforts to find a way into Iceheart's sanctum. As you may recall, Iceheart used an aetheryte in depths of Snowcloak to teleport a short distance to the west, most likely to a sanctum of some description. It is there that we suspect she means to summon Shiva using the crystals she stole from House Fortem's caravan. Heretics believe that they are bringing about the second coming of their patron saint. But, if as we suspect they mean to hold a summoning ritual, the kind employed by the beast tribes, it seems likely that the result will be something more akin to a primal. Suffice it to say, they must be stopped, and stop them we shall. But first, we must surmount the obstacle that Iceheart has placed in our path. Ordinarily, it would be a simple matter of tapping into the established Ethernet and thereby following our query. However, despite our best efforts, we have been unable to ascertain the position of the aetheryte to which she teleported. Our prevailing theory is that she destroyed the second aetheryte upon arrival, a reckless measure but also an effective one. After discussing the matter at length with Urianger, we have concluded that we lack expertise to develop a solution. Which is why we have called upon the aid of one who does possess such expertise, a colleague of ours who is currently en route to Revenant's Toll from Charlian. She should be arriving within the hour, in fact. Since you're here, mayhap we could welcome her together? I am certain she would appreciate the gesture. Let us make our way to the northern gates and await her coming. Alright, it's time for that one. Do, 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 do. Mm-hmm.
Minfilia, am I right?
None other. I bid you welcome to Revenant's Toll, and thank you for traveling so far on such short notice.
As if I could ever say no to Urianger.
Moonbreeder is an accomplished Sharlayan scholar and an authority on aetherite technologies. She has played an invaluable role in our search for a means to capture Ascian souls.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Oops, wrong way. Let us return to the Rising Stones at once, then. We have much to discuss. Basically a Zell-like introduction there.
Moon! Gods, it's been ages!
Oh, longer, sister.
A joyous reunion indeed.
Well, of course it is. Moon and I are like twin sisters.
Save in appearance and aptitude.
Ouch.
Everyone, if I could have your attention. We have with us an esteemed guest who has come from Sharlayan to assist us. I bid Moonbreeder join us here that she might share with us her extensive knowledge of aetherites. Also, as many of you are already aware, she has been overseeing our research into white auracite, a sample of which she has been good enough to bring with her.
Well, I had to come, didn't I? You'd have to be bloody daft to turn your nose up at a chance like this. Where better to conduct my final tests than a land so steeped in ether you can taste it?
'Tis plain the passage of the years hath done little to dampen thy youthful spirits. And nothing at all to reform thy youthful manner.
Urianger, where in the hells have you been hiding?
Unhand me.
I come all this way, and that's what you have to say to me. I much preferred when you were pleading with me to drop everything and hurry to your side. What was it you said? None save thee can satisfy this need.
Wow.
Go on.
Thine artless attempts to misrepresent mine all too innocent motives do thee little credit. Mine intent, as well thou knowest, was but to impress upon thee the gravity of the circumstance. Lest thou doubt, a deiform entity shall shortly be summoned, save if thou and no other grantest my compeers thine aid.
You still haven't found it then, your missing aetherite?
We have not. No. We know that Iceheart teleported to an aetherite not far from the first. Yet even after careful analysis, we could not locate the second beacon. We now suspect that the heretics destroyed the second aetherite to impede our pursuit. Our allies continue to scour Snowcloak for Iceheart's sanctuary, but we have no guarantee that they will find it. Yet it must be found, for even now Iceheart prepares to call upon Saint Shiva.
I'm sorry, but if the aetherite's been destroyed, then that's that. Although, you're absolutely sure she used the first aetherite, are you? She didn't just use teleportation magics?
One of our own bore witness to her escape. I can say with absolute certainty that Iceheart used the aetherite.
In that case, there might be a way, so long as the ethereal current is still flowing.
Hmm? Go
Truly?
on.
How?
We use the current to recreate the beacon. As you know, aetherites are a bit like lighthouses. We use them to reconstitute our physical forms when crossing the ethereal sea. Without them, we'd lose all sense of direction and our essence would dissipate. However, we don't rely solely on these beacons. There are currents of ether which flow between them, currents which help guide us to our destination. Now, these currents will gradually dwindle away to nothing if an aetherite is destroyed. But if even a sluggish flow remains, we could theoretically use it to direct a surge of concentrated ether towards the void left by the beacon, and thereby fill it up again.
Like opening the floodgates to fill a dry riverbed. Though, correct me if I'm wrong, but would we not need a veritable reservoir of ether?
In concert, we might manage to channel a sufficient volume, yet that is not my chief concern. To direct the flow of so great a volume of ether with the requisite precision would be a nigh impossible task in itself.
I barely succeeded in facilitating travel to an unattuned beacon. That which you describe sounds considerably more difficult.
And dangerous. Every person who has attempted to teleport in this fashion has died in the process. They, however, did not have white auracite at their disposal. I can use it to channel all the ether you can give me into the aetherite. However, white auracite cannot retain ether for an extended period of time, so we would need to infuse it immediately beforehand. Just so you know, I'd confidently give this plan better than even odds of success. And if the worst comes to worst, your people won't suffer.
Though it risked the lives of our best and brightest, we have not the time to seek other options. If the ethereal current still flows, we shall carry out Moonbreeder's plan.
That's the spirit. Let's roll the dice.
All right. let's get crazy in here. I have already informed Alphino of our plan to recreate the beacon in the manner Moonbreed described. He agreed that despite the inherent danger, it represents her only hope of success. He also said that he wished to meet with you at Snowcloak before you proceed. I expect you'll find him waiting for you there when you arrive. I want you to know that I appreciate everything you've done for us on our behalf, Saphrine, and that I have faith you'll return to us as you always have. Thanks. I think. All right. So now that we've got White Orisite on our side, we have a chance. Wow, I missed a few, so we're 4 away from the end of this stream. Good to see you, Saphrine. I was starting to wonder if you were having second thoughts. Captain Ilbert sends his regards, by the way. He attends the interrogation of Elan Rillin in Ulda as we speak. But I shall not distract you from the matter at hand. We can discuss the ivy upon your return. I trust that, by which means I wish to say the others are waiting for us at the Aether after you, Scion. I thought it was. There, it's ready. Ha! It worked, I think. Try tuning the ether right now. Feel the current and try to locate the beacon. We have done all we can, Saphrine. For now, let us withdraw. When your final preparations are complete, you must seek out the beacon we have created. If, by the grace of the 12s, you arrive safely, you must stop Iceheart before she summons Shiva. Do-do-do. We cannot ignore the possibility that our actions have alerted Iceheart to our plans. Should that be the case, she may attempt to hasten the completion of the summoning ritual. If she succeeds, you will have little choice but face Shiva in battle. Knowing little of this saint, I cannot say if your own strength will suffice, so I would encourage you to call upon your allies. Some may have reservations about wagering their lives on the success of Moonbreeda's experiment, but others will surely agree that desperate times call for desperate measures. Ah, before you assemble your party, pray speak to that knight. I believe he has a message for you from Sir Aymeric. Madam, Sir Aymeric regrets that he could not be here in person and asks that I read this letter to you. Ishgard faces an unprecedented threat, yet in our hour of need it is not her knights who stand poised to defend her. Saphrine Kanakuro, the warrior of light, savior of Eorzea, your deeds this day shall not be forgotten. Where others would flee, you chose to remain. Where others would falter, you chose to rise. Where others would use their gifts for selfish ends, you wield yours in service of a greater cause. May he alone bless you with good fortune and see you safely home. And now we get the trial. And now we get disconnected. Mother... Seriously. This literally has no end. Well, this is going to be a minute to wait for the service to refresh for connecting. Alright, that should be long enough. There we go. God. This really is getting to be old. Yeah. I really, really wish there'd be an explanation. You know, some people say it's DDoS, some people say it's not, some people say it's the infrastructure, which technically would be an exploitation of DDoS, but... So we are 4 away. After we deal with Shiva, which is probably going to take a moment because, hey, everybody's getting back into the server and nobody's going to be in queue. So while this is going on, I am going to take a quickie break. And I need to fix that, because we are not in Dawn Trail right now. Yeah, I really need to fix that up. Okay. Do, do, do. Oh, okay. Three. All right. Finally. Let us unlock Shiva again. Good. There we go. This is going to take forever. I don't care what that says. It's probably going to take a while. Ah, right. And the weird thing is not everybody in NA gets hit with it. It's like when it hits, it's either the west side, you know, the western half of the country gets DC'd, or the eastern half. It's never the whole. Sometimes it goes one side, then the other. Or like East Coast gets disconnected, and then as they start reconnecting back in, West Coast gets thrown out. But yeah, it's getting frustrating excessively. All right, that's on. That's on. And that was quicker than I was expecting. Holy crap. Well, maybe. There we go. All right. Time for the original Dami Mommy.
You should never have come here, warrior of light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. Oh, Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us with eternal grace.
Alright, here we go. That was an untelegraphed tank buster. And these are the ads which need to be taken down before she goes to the next phase. There we go. And here it comes. Everybody's favorite part. Alright, just a follow the pattern. That's going to be a tank buster. And that was a pretty quick Shiva. Get off the screen. There we go.
Fool. Blind, bloody fool.
Oh.
You, of all people, should understand the suffering war begets. That no sacrifice is too great if it brings an end to the violence. Mine is the righteous cause. You fight in a war you do not understand. A pawn of liars and schemers. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask why. Trapped in a delusion of their own creation, and blind to the truth. Warrior of light, redemption is not beyond us. We who walk before may lead those who walk after. Seek the keeper of the lake. See with eyes unclouded. Do not squander Mother's gift. Hear, feel, think.
Interesting that she sees Heidelin as mother. Oh, good. One of you assholes.
And so the vessel withdraws, a predictable outcome. Nevertheless, La Habrea will be pleased. How unfortunate.
By the 12, you're alive? I mean, of course you're alive. Why wouldn't you be? Iceheart did what? Are you sure? Certain about that? Dranians are skilled with glamours and all. Look, if that's what you say you saw, I believe you. It's just I've never heard of a primal being summoned like that before. Are you sure you're not injured? Head trauma, you know, caused by hallucinations, you see? No? Fair enough. I was only asking. If you ask me, there's not to be gained by mulling over the implications of your story in the freezing cold. Let's save it for the Rising Stones. I'll get everyone to meet us there. Before that, you best pay a visit to White Brim Front and speak with Elfino. He probably worried sick about you. That or he's busy playing politics with these guardians. Either way, I'm sure he'll be delighted to see you hale and healthy. Speaking of which, don't you have a headache or anything? Do you? No? Blurred vision? No? No reason. See you again soon. Anyway. Yeah. That was definitely a safe way to travel. Oh, is he over by Drillmont? That would make sense. Nope, I want to go down, thank you. Yeah, I thought as much. There she is, none the worse for the wear. Was there ever a doubt that the warrior of the light would succeed? Wrong button. I think I speak for all of us when I say that I should be like nothing more than to hear a stirring tale of your victory, if you would be so kind. Then we were too late to prevent the summoning. But not too lost to prevent further loss of life. An outcome worthy of celebration. And for one which we have to thank Saphrine. Yes, you are right, of course, Sir Emmerich. We should be content with that we have accomplished. I, for one, could not have wished for a better outcome. Shiva is no longer a threat, and the heretics have been routed. Aye, there is the matter of Iceheart's escape, but she cannot run forever. Whether it takes days, weeks, moons, or even years, my knights will find her. In the meantime, Lord Drillmont, is the caravan ready? The supplies that your men have recovered have been prepared for transport, in accordance with your wishes. Rest assured that my knights will see them safely to Revenant's Toll. Of that, I have no doubt. I take it these are the self-same supplies the heretics stole from House Fortem's caravan? Less the crystals which compromised the bulk of the shipment, yes. Scarcely a fraction of what was promised, but a meaningful contribution in your cause all the same. And on an unrelated note, Saphrine, might I trouble you to accompany me to Camp Dragonhead at your earliest convenience? 'Tis not for my benefit. A certain lord was most distressed when he learned of your intent to risk life and limb to stop Iceheart. It took half a dozen knights to restrain him, I'm told. My men give vent their anxieties when in myriad ways. pray do not think less of him. Less? I think more of bro. He was willing to move heaven and earth just to try and help out. That is why Harchi is one of the best. What were you thinking, Saphrine? Wagering your very bead on dubious theory that which might allow you to enter Isar's lair, knowing full well she could have sufficient forewarning to complete her ritual and summon Shiva anyway? And then engaging the abomination in mortal combat? By the fury, Saphrine, just the stuff of ballads, the battle of ages. Would that I have been there to fight by your side? Yet here I was, forced, condemned to wonder the fate of my dear friend for a veritable eternity. I would not wish such torture on my most hated enemy. Oh, but here you are now. And that's what truly matters. Let us move on. Sir Emic wished to have words with you and Master Alphino in private. He awaits us at the inner Surrey.
On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, allow me to express my deepest thanks. Never before have we been required to contend with a primal. Indeed, there were fears in some quarters that our knights might not be equal to the task. From what we have now learned of these beings, I can say with certainty that we would have lost a great many men had the Scions not intervened.
Then the argument for preemptive action should be self-evident. Perchance now you will reconsider my proposal that Ishgard move against Nautalon.
Ere we first met, a similar proposal was tabled, but the Holy See decreed that we were to observe, and that military action should be taken only in self-defense. All things considered, it was not an unreasonable decision. Since the calamity, 2 vigils have fallen to the Horde, while Garuda has never shown any inclination to storm the gates of judgment. Which is why this unprecedented crisis and its resolution may prompt a change in policy. You who have faced these primals know well the threat they pose. Ishgard did not. Not until now. And there is naught like a brush with death to change a man's outlook.
At the very least, this should silence any lingering objections to our arrangement with Revenant's Toll. The Holy See may even feel moved to grant us its formal endorsement.
So far as it is possible, the Scions shall be compensated for their service.
We should be grateful for any aid you can provide.
As a gesture of good faith, I shall withdraw my previous request. Your people are doubtless needed elsewhere.
That will not be necessary. We too have a vested interest in watching Dravania's movements.
I see. Once more, I must thank you.
Sir Emmerich, if I may, do you truly believe that Midgard-Zoma could return?
The heavens are a window unto truth, but those who interpret their movements are not infallible. I requested your involvement as a precautionary measure.
But of course, You sought an excuse to compensate us from the first, mindful of what would happen if Revenant's toll were taken by your enemies. Ishgard is not wont to aid its neighbors, but that does not preclude it from manipulating them to serve its own interests.
Choose your next words carefully.
Do you know what sort of man becomes Lord Commander of the Temple Knights? One who comes from good stock. I did not. Yet here I am now. Why do you suppose that is? Because I swiftly learned to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
A proxy, if you will.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget, one born of necessity. The dragons grow more restless by the day, and the heretics harry us nigh without cease. We have contended with such troubles for centuries, but there are limits to even our endurance. Yet as a pauper is loath to part with his meager possessions, the leaders of Ishgard are not wont to render up their trust to outsiders. But with perseverance on our part, they may yet be made to see the light. Nevertheless, one must take care when walking the road less traveled.
Wise words, Sir Emmerich. I shall make a point to remember them. I must apologize for my earlier outburst. I hope it will not sour our good relations.
Not at all. You but spoke from the heart. I trust you understand that at times my duties may prevent me from meeting with you. On such occasions, my second in command will speak for me.
Lucia, at your service. Pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made known to our enemies. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind. For the sake of Ishgard, and of Eorzea at large, I pray our peoples can put aside their differences. Those who dwell in the past risk losing sight of their future.
Should aught befall one of our shipments, pray inform Lucia immediately. You may also relay to her any words you might have for me alone. Not being of Ishgardian birth, she owes no allegiance to any noble house, making her as near to incorruptible as one can find in my homeland. Suffice it to say, I trust her completely, and so may you. Which reminds me, Lord Orchefort, if you would be so kind.
Certainly.
In times such as these, trust is ever in short supply. Mayhap this will go some way to rectify the problem. The results of our investigation into the heretics' recent attacks, as well as our interrogation of the merchant you detained.
Sir Emmerich, I cannot thank you enough.
Think nothing of it. Ishgard may be many things, but it is no friend to Garlemald.
Did I not tell you to have faith, my friend?
Well, that was a interesting roundabout turn of events. It would seem we have much to discuss with our friends at the Rising Stones. If what you said is true, Iceheart's method of summoning Shiva defies all precedent. It necessitates a complete appraisal of the primal threat and our approach to combating it. Moreover, there are grave ramifications if word of this incident reaches Imperial ears. Garly Empire believes that primals are an insufferable menace, that mere existence is a threat to this very star. As such, they deem any action taken against the beast tribes to be justified by default. Imagine then if it became known that it was not only the beast tribes of Eorzea that could summon primals, but her civilized people as well. Any lingering objection to Eorzean campaign would vanish overnight. Where before we had to contend with a single Imperial Legion, we could find ourselves facing the combined might of all of Garlemald. But I speak unadvisedly. Come, Saphrine, it is better we continue this conversation in Mordona. Alright. Let's go there. And head in here. So, is this...
Words cannot well express how glad I am to see you return to us hale and whole. Needless to say, I am most eager to hear your account of that which occurred in Kurthis, assuming you're ready to speak of it. Excellent. I shall summon the others at once. Iceheart used her own body as a vessel for a primal soul?
Master Louisoir's writings make no mention of such a possibility. Can we be certain this entity was a primal?
As certain as we can be that good King Mogglmog the 12th was a primal, I should think. Both were ostensibly summoned.
Let's not quibble over definitions. Of more concern is the implication that Iceheart retained her will, even after she was possessed. We are talking about a mortal, wielding the power of a primal.
It can't possibly be that easy, can it? There must be some sort of sacrifice required. Or maybe she's just special?
What qualities this woman possesseth, I know not. But full sure am I that she was groomed for this role. Few are privy to the secrets of summoning, and but a single party standeth to profit from their dissemination.
Well, I wouldn't presume to comment on how the lass came to know about summoning, but I will say that what she summoned was a primal. The readings were the same, or near as damn it. Strange as it all sounds, it's really no different from what you've faced before.
Then mayhap it is time that we re-examined our previous encounters.
Pack your things, Ida. We're going back to Gridania.
Yes, sir.
About Iceheart's final words to you. Hear, feel, think. Hydaelyn speaks to her as well. If Iceheart is blessed with the power of the Echo, she will doubtless have used it to further her goals. Or could it be that it was a revelation granted her by the Echo which first set her on this path? She did say that the Ishgardians were blind to the truth. Do you think she has knowledge of the origins of the Ishgardian-Dravanian War? It would do much to explain her unwavering conviction.
Did not the Lady Iceheart implore thee to seek the Keeper of the Lake? And did she not imply that in so doing thou wouldst come to see with eyes unclouded?
Midgard Zoma was a king amongst kings who reigned for centuries on end. But he is dead and his wisdom lost to the ages. Unless the Ishgardians' fears are well founded. It would seem we have yet another reason to stand watch over the Keeper of the Lake. For a mercy, we are well positioned to do so. Iceheart, Shiva, Ascians, and Midgard Zoma. I shudder to think how they're all connected.
Alrighty. I mean to scour the annals. Hold on. I mean to scour the annals for knowledge of Midgar Somar, given his great age. I dare say he appeared in more than a few. Do you hear that? The commotion outside. What do you see on it? If aught is amiss? Saphrine, it is well you're on hand. We have a problem. Rillen has escaped. It happened shortly after the Immortal Flames took her into custody. She had been placed in a dungeon cell ahead of her coming trial, but apparently the accommodation was not to her liking. The turnkey was found slain with 2 guards. 'Tis plain she received inside help. Citizens report seeing Rillen quitting the city via the Gate of Nald with a bloodied spear in her hand. She makes for Castor Meridium, and I am certain, with her fate in Eorzea as good as sealed, what recourse has she but to flee with her Imperial masters? Even as we speak, Captain Ilberd and the First are hot upon Roland's heels. Pray make haste to Camp Blue Fog and join the hunt. Oh, holy crap. Alright, Ilberd, where's this target? Thanks for coming, Scion. I've spoken with the soldiers here, and they say that Roland walked through the camp not a bell ago. Aye, she walked through. You did not mishear. We have Ravan's decision to keep the matter secret, thanks to that. Bad for morale, he said. As a result, not a single flame in the garrison made any attempt to detain her. So here we are. Roland must not be allowed to reach Castor Meridium. I guess Ilberd doesn't want to do the MSQ in case she gets into the castrum again. Probably doesn't want to do all those cutscenes. Duty time! Oh, Christ. This wretch was with Rillen. He threw himself at us. Damn it. She didn't blink when we cut him down, not even when he started screaming. No loyalty to even her own. God's damn harpy. With me, Scion. We almost have her. Nice outfit. Excluding the shoulder pad. Alright, clear out all the trash so we can focus straight on you. Well, she's down. So just take care of all of this. And this should end quickly. How am I missing? My direct hit isn't that small, is it? Oh, we are getting a little spicier, huh? Come on. Just go down. Alright, there we go. Bind her and do it tight. Yes, sir. Good work, men. She and her Imperial cronies pushed us close, but we were better. Behold, a respected officer of the Immortal Flames. People looked up to you as one of the Order's founding members, one of its pillars. Saddens me to see you fallen so low. Heh. What would you know of low, you spoiled little lordling, who has never known any for want? People such as you take wealth and birth for granted. You think it was your God-given right to rule over others? You know not of our plight, the injustice that we low-bornish guardians must endure. To the noble lords and ladies, we are not people, but resources to be consumed. I did why Hatchet has arrived, stealing, killing, even whoring myself. It is no fault of mine if fools imagine me a paragon when I join the Flames. To hear you tell it, one would think you the only person to ever suffered. In case you've forgotten, Raban himself was born into poverty, as was I. We lived hand to mouth, with little more than shirts on our backs. Hunger was our constant companion. Yet never did we bemoan our lot in life, nor did we begrudge others their fortunes. We accepted the hand we had been dealt, and played it to the best of our ability. Life was a battle, aye, but no matter what fate threw at us, we took it on the chin and came back for more. Everything we have, we fought for. How are we any different then? 'Tis true that we are both mercenaries of low birth. And 'tis true that we both had our fair share of struggles. But whereas I sold my soul, you, Marshal, sold your companions. If life has taught me one thing, is that you never betray your own. I would sooner cut off my own arm than raise a hand against a friend. But enough talk. You will return to Olda to face justice, and the people who entrust you we have dragged through the gutter. Alright, and time for the last one. Not so much as a hint of remorse. 'Tis well that this sword business is over, finally at an end. A friend's betrayal cuts deeper than steel. We must hope that we have chosen our own allies more wisely than Railbound has chosen his. Nice foreshadowing there, Alphino.
I've heard. Truly bothersome business. No, I do not foresee a problem on that front. The main concern is Roban. There is no telling what the brute might do. Have the blades watch him in the flames day and night. You may leave the Sultana to me. I shall personally attend her grace. Sever one of the East Aldenard trade routes. That ought to keep Lolorito occupied for a while. Nanamo Ulnamo. For my sake, pray be a good little Sultana to the last.
Little shit stain. Captain Ilberd and I have a few questions for the Flame Marshal regarding the circumstances of her miraculous escape. When we have completed our interrogation, we shall take our findings directly to General Raban, and that shall be the end of it. Your work is here done, my friend. My thanks. But I have one task left for you. Return to the Rising Stones and appraise Minfilia of all that has happened. I am aware that the antecedent held Roland in high regard. For better or worse, she will want to know this tale ends. Alright. Let's end this chapter. Actually, let me make for certain that I have till those. Nope, I do not.
Welcome back, my friend. I have already received word from Alphino.
Then why was I
I
sent?
think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent. I know not what to say. Together with Robon, Eline lent us much-needed aid at the time of our Order's founding. She was particularly passionate about the need to tackle the primal threat. When we discussed the subject, her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her true self with whom I spoke then. But now is not the time to dwell on such matters. I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat the Ascians. We shall begin as soon as everyone is assembled. My thanks for coming, friends. Moonbreeder, the floor is yours.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with white auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Ascian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of stability. The stone can only store ether for a short while before expelling its contents.
In addition to auracite's inherent limitations, we must needs be wary of our enemy's strength. Our foe draweth upon an infinite wellspring of power. Even should we succeed in entrapping him, the stone will not long contain his wrath.
Meaning that, if we want to kill the swine, we'll have to be quick about it.
'Tis our belief that an Ascian soul may be permanently undone, if smitten by a sufficiently concentrated burst of pure ether.
The only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be. Without knowing how much ether an Ascian soul is composed of, we're basically guessing.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Habrea.
During that encounter, Heidelin bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream of energy. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your foe was composed of ether. Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Habrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that lies between our world and the void. The fact remains, however, that Heidelin placed the means to destroy the Ascians in your hands. Be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that you will do the same when we next encounter such a foe.
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether, one to equal that which Heidelin did benevolently bestow upon her champion.
Good luck with that.
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that producing such a blade will require a prodigious quantity of ether. Whence will it come, pray tell?
Oh, what if we had two pieces of white auracite? One to trap the Ascian, and the other to store the ether for the blade.
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of time. We'd still need to collect the stuff there and then, sorry to say.
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
It would seem more research is in order.
I'm going to linger a while, perform a few more tests on the auracite. And I could do with some help. Orianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but I am required at the Waking Sands.
Liar.
Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premises. 'Twould be unseemly to leave them unattended.
Coward.
Sole charge, you say? So you're basically alone there, then? Well, that settles it. I'll just have to come to you.
Awesome.
While you were afield, word arrived from the Sharlayan motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident at the Isle of Vow. What they discovered was troubling, to say the least. According to the report, the Isle has been erased from existence. 'Twas as if a hole had been torn in the very fabric of reality.
Aye. Yet the mystery endeth not with the Isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldessian. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining as the ancient texts call it. I'll be damned if that's a coincidence.
All indications suggest Ascian involvement, but I sense that a force greater still is at work. The entity the Dark Beings call the One True God. We must pray that my dear friend Kryl regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Val's final moments, she may be able to shed some light on this mystery.
All right. Wait. Thought so. This usually happens with an end of chapter quest.
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entrenched themselves in strategic locations across Eorzea. So swiftly did they accomplish this, it was suspected that they had received help. To think that it came from Huayu, my right hand.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Huayu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also answered to a higher authority in Garlemald. But this higher authority could not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the Meteor Project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence than claiming Eorzea for the Empire. He would happily have seen the lot reduced to ash. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine provisions, in which Huayu played a part.
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Dalamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet Eorzea survived. To all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project had failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the Primals. Until, that is, it stumbled upon the Ultima weapon.
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened armies. Yet they chose to hide behind their walls. Why?
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerge to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in earnest.
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. He ordered the Legatus to halt his advance, only to find that the Black Wolf had slipped its leash, and that the 14th now acted alone. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity to undermine the Legion's efforts.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the former High Legatus of the Garlean army, now known as Emperor Varus Zos Galvus. So he was Huayu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Huayu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain faction in Eorzea.
The Syndicate?
In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war, it isn't hard to imagine who her other masters were.
Seven hells! You mean to say that she was a double agent?
Triple. if you consider her services to Van Belsar and the new Emperor as separate.
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, one aspect of the puzzle remains unclear to me. By whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And try as I might, I fail to see how aiding their cause would profit either her Imperial or monetarist masters. Could it be that another hand is at work here? If so, why you must be made to reveal whose it is.
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, now I must interrogate her as a stranger.
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk, and stem, it will simply grow back.
Yep.
I know that full well. Those closest to Huayu have already been detained, and I will question them alongside her.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be unwitting abettors among them.
All will be treated fairly. On that you have my word. Those who are innocent have no cause to fear.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that, I take my leave.
All these years, I've been made to dance to their tune. How could you, Huayu? How could you side with them? Those cankers who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, monetarist scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! Team, purge this land of your sickness! Before the eyes of the 12, I swear it!
Okay.
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even mine own chambers shall remain private for long.
Has the situation grown so grim?
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Teleji Adeleji has risen to greater prominence upon the backs of impoverished refugees. The monetarists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's actions have torn a rift in their ranks. They snap at each other as rabid dogs. Yet now is not the time to be bickering among ourselves.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the Syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the Syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential merchant class, whom the Cabal represents. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest, and peace would slip still further away. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah have a right to pursue happiness. It is the duty of a ruler to protect this right. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not do to make enemies heedlessly. Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped. But as you have informed us, the monetarists take no view but their own. They hunger for power while the masses starve. In the absence of a common cause, it seems beyond any one individual to make Uldar whole.
And the presence of a Garlean agent within the Immortal Flames only makes matters worse. Even accounting for Uldar's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grievous breach of security is unprecedented. I fear this business will provide the monetarists with a rod to beat Rauban.
Eorzea can ill afford for the Immortal Flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garleans will turn their ravenous gaze toward our lands once more. If we are to resist their might, our nations must stand together. Yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole. Cannot be done to improve the situation in Uldar.
The true wealth of Uldar lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall never know these things, so long as their lives are ruled by the ambitions of the few.
The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate them for their own selfish ends. For the government to serve the people, it must be formed of the people. For Uldar to move forward, it is not only the Syndicate that must be dissolved.
Here it comes.
Nay, you jest.
My friends, it was for no other reason than to make known to you mine intent that I requested your presence here. When I make my declaration to the people, chaos shall inevitably ensue. As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make unto you this request. Help Rauban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake yourselves, for a strong Eorzea will ever have need of a strong Uldar.
Your Grace, are you certain of this?
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and monetarists shall cease to be. Uldar will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes, but to her people. Rauban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture, I am powerless to help my subjects.
God, those cakes and muffins look great. Oh, finally, we're done with that. It's an ambitious ideal, but no government lasts forever. All subject to corruption at some point in some way. But anyway, that's for someone else to discuss. As for us, that is the end of 2-4 with... Oh, we chased down a traitor in the Immortal Flames. Met Iceheart with her summoning Shiva into her body. Take that however you will. And her with her own ambitions of ending the Ishgardian-Dravanian War, which will lead us into Heaven's Ward going further on down the road. But we also got Moonbrita to show up with her special white aura sight, so you get a possible weapon against the Asians now. Possible. Still need a way to fill it up full of ether that Heidelin has. Or at least to that amount. But yeah. It has been pretty busy for this chapter. And we're going to end on that note. So, as for us here at the corner, we're going to call it there. As always, thank you for watching, and